Hey guys, welcome back to KY Coins and Collectibles. And what I've got here is the Morgan silver dollar. And it's the coin that really started it all for me. And I'm sure a lot of you all as well. What I want to talk about in this video is some of the obstacles and hurdles I've had to get through to complete my collection, and some of the things I've learned along the way about this series of coins. It has been a tough journey, but I finally have completed my set, and I have spent quite a bit of money on getting a full set over the years, and it's probably been a 10 to 15 year journey, and I kind of just wanted to talk about the series, give a little history on it. I've been going over my notes and a lot of research on the history of the silver dollar, and particularly the Morgan silver dollar. And I know a lot of people out there are collecting the silver dollar right now, the Morgan silver dollar. And you'll start to see as you get closer to the end in the last few coins that you're trying to get, the prices really jump. Some coins that aren't as expensive that you thought would be, or ones that you thought wouldn't be, but they are. And there's a lot of history to it. And they've, over the years, since they've started the Morgan dollar in 1878, there has been a lot of different things happen to silver, the price, and this just kind of changed along the way, and how they have tried to really sell the silver dollar and get it circulated. So I just wanted to kind of go through it and tell you my experience with it, and if you're trying to collect, get a full set together, a mint and date set, some of the problems that you'll come across as you get down to those last 4 or 5 coins that kind of seem impossible to get. And I did finish my setup about a month or so ago, and I will post a video of that up here in the right corner when I got my last Morgan in to complete my set. And so let's get started. What I'll do is I'll kind of show you what I've got in my collection, and I will go over a lot of the key dates, and I've got a list of the key dates. I've got all of them, and I'll show you mine, and then we'll talk about some of the other semi-key dates, and then some cool facts that a lot of people may not know about the Morgan dollars. So, and I've got some really neat comparables to do here too. So like later on, I'll show you the difference in 7 years. So these are old red books, and I just so happened to got lucky. I picked up one at a flea market and one in a bookstore, and the oldest one is a 78, and the one after that is a 75, and I also have the 2024. So you'll get to see just in 7 years how the Morgan dollar price has changed, and a lot happened between the 60s and 70s, even up until the 80s, with this series with the Morgan dollars. So I'll kind of go over that, and what I'm going to do is I'll show you mine now. I've got the 2 Dansko albums, and these are my favorite, and I'll show you it's the 1878 through 1890. The first one is 7178. That's this album. And then the next album is the 1891 through 1921, and it is the next one, the 1779. So I'll show you the first book first, and we'll kind of just go through them real fast. Starting with the 1878. This Dansko album doesn't have the different varieties of the 78, and there's a few different ones. They changed it up a couple times. The big thing being the eagle, the tail feathers. I believe it originally had 8, and a lot of people said the eagle doesn't have an even number of tail feathers, so they made it 7. And in the red book, you can see that it goes from 8 the first year to the 7, and then there's a couple different reverse. But ultimately, the 8 tail feathers is the better one to find with a lower mintage, and they really jump in price. So the 1878 8 tail feathers is the one to have, and mine's not. I do have a couple. I actually don't have one up here to show, but I've got 2 of them. They're in lower grades, but that's a cool little fact about the first year they made them. The Carson Cities are always lower mintage, and they made the Carson City Mint went up until 1893, and that was the last year that they made the Carson City Morgan Dollar. So and I'll just run through these. My collection of the Carson Cities, most of them will be more, they'll have more wear on them. They just really jump in prices. So you'll be able to find more common dates in really good shape, and of course the harder dates you'll find them in lower grades. So you'll look at 2 different coins and you'll say, well, you think that one costs more just by looking at it, like it's got it's original luster and this one's wore out. Well, that's normally not really the case, because this one has a lot lower mintage, and they made a lot more of this one, so it's not going to be always what you think. Sometimes it is, but these 2, I'll give you a comparison. The 79, that's a 79 Philly. They made 14 million, almost 15 million of these, and that coin in mint state, we'll say 64, is $200. This 1879 CC, we'll say clear CC, just in very fine, is $600. So you're talking a big difference, and this ain't very fine. I mean, I'm not sure but there's a big difference there. This one in mint state is $200, and I think I've got my book on what I paid for my 79cc. And I've got all these wrote down. I showed you in the earlier video my journal. What I do is I write all my prices down, what I've paid for them. That one I believe I paid around $200 for as well. So this one's basically $200, and this is a $200 coin. And look at the grade difference. I mean, one's has a lot of wear and one's original mint. So that's something you'll encounter as you collect. It really has to do with the mintage. Does it have lower mintage? Was a lot of them melted during the Pittman Act of I believe it was 1918. They melted a lot of I think it was 270 million coins, silver dollars, were melted. So a lot of your coins were melted, and some years more so than others. So with that being said, a lot of the coins that had higher mintages were melted more so than a lower mintage coin. So you take a coin that had, in a prime example is I believe the 1903 O, and this is a hard coin to find, and this one I just got graded, and it's in pretty good shape, has good details left on it, but it's been cleaned and kind of got a polished look to it, a lot more so on the back. But this coin had a higher mintage of the 1903 O of 4.4 million. So they thought there for a while this coin was crazy, like expensive, because they thought most of the 1903 O's were melted during the Pittman Act of 1918. Well, come to find out, there's bags of them hoarded up in the back of a bank, in a bank vault. So that brought the price down. But there for a while, when they thought they'd all been melted, the price of this one was really through the roof, which it is still an expensive coin. And this one, if you're putting a set together, this will probably be one of the last coins that you get. This was one of the last 5 coins, I believe. One of the last 3 to 4 coins for me was a 1903 O. It's going to be a probably $600 to $800 coin. So this will be one of the last coins you get for your collection. If you're just trying to get them as you can, like me, you're filling the hose, going slowly, and you're getting the cheaper ones first. But there'll be a day when you come down to, you've got a few hoes left, and you have to dish out some big bucks to get these last coins, because they're not cheap. And the better condition you find them, the more expensive they're going to be, of course. So we'll just go on through here, and I'll kind of give you examples as we go to some of the problems I encountered putting this set together. I have bought numerous collections, and I've bought 2 bigger collections 3. I've bought 3 big silver dollar collections that almost put a full set together, but each time I bought these collections, they were all missing about the same coins. So I bought 3 collections, and they were really all missing the same coins, the key dates, all of them. So that really tells you, like, and I've heard it before when people say it's a rare coin because it's a rare coin. You're not going to stumble across it. And I know a lot of people coin roll search. They'll search coin rolls hoping to find that 1909 SVDB penny. It's not going to happen. It's really not going to happen. I mean, it's fun. I love coin roll searching. I have found 1909 VDB before penny. I have found some better dates, but I have done it for years and years, and I have never found a really nice or a key date. It's just very rare. It's fun to do. I love it, but it don't happen. They're rare because they're rare. So just remember that. These coins, they're rare. They're low mintage. There's not many of them that survive. And the survival rate, you can get on PCGS and go to a particular coin and look at the estimated survival, and it will show you about what they think there is left of that particular coin. And the king of the Morgans, which this was the last one I've got, the last Morgan I got to complete my set. It was the 1893S, of course, and I believe there was 100,000. This was the lowest mintage of the Morgan dollars, besides the 1895 proof Philly. This was the lowest mintage, and there was 100,000. And out of the 100,000, I believe they believe only roughly 10,000 exist today. So that makes a coin crazy collectible and expensive when they're estimating only 10,000 survived. And with this is going to be the key date. This will be the last one you get, and I paid, I believe it was around $2,200 for this one. And it was I've looked for months and months, and this was the cheapest one I have found. So I mean, I've looked for years, and this has been the cheapest one I have ever come across. You can buy them at $2,800 to $3,000, but when they get down around $2,000, it's hard to find one where you want it to be at and look decent. So this one had really good enough details for me with a good price. It didn't really have any distracting marks, dings, cuts, scratches. So I was very happy with this, and it was graded. This coin you will want to get graded, or have when you buy it, you want it to be graded and authenticated, because and you can do that with this one, because I believe on this particular Morgan dollar, they only used one die for the front, the obverse, and there are markers in that die that will be in all of them. I believe there's a little thing, a little rabbit ear in the T, and like it will be in the T. There's like a little gouge in the T, and then down, you can tell by the denticles between the bottom of the neck and the one. I have seen so many on eBay that are fake, and they're not graded, but you can zoom in and you can tell by these markers. And the one that's easier to see is the neck, between the neck and the one. There's usually, I believe, like three and a half denticles. And before you buy, please do your research, because you're gonna spend $2,000 and get a fake coin, and it's not gonna be good. And check the sellers, make sure they've got great feedback, good reviews. Make sure you know who you're buying it from, because I don't want to see anybody get a coin and it really, I mean, I've bought fake coins and it hurts, it sucks, and especially when you're buying expensive fake coins, it sucks even worse. And I love this hobby. I love doing it. So you want to try to mitigate your hurt. So do your research. Make sure you know what you're buying before you purchase a $1,000, $2,000, or $3,000, $4,000 coin online on eBay or wherever, or who you get it off of. And you're not going to buy a $2,000 coin that has really good details. This is going to be your $2,000 1893S Morgan. When you're seeing them online and they look like that or that, and the price is still really, really low when nobody's bidding on it, don't think you're getting a good deal, because you're not. It is too good to be true. So do your research. Don't get burnt. It leaves a bad taste in your mouth, and it's a fun hobby, and it's a good investment. So just do your research like anything else. Make sure you do your research. You know what you're doing. So I believe this was my very last one that I got. And I'll tell you my other ones. So I told you the 030, the 1893S, and the 1894, which it's in the next book and I'll show you. The 1894 was one of my last ones. So there's the three last ones I was getting. And then the 1885 Carson City. And one more, the 1889 Carson City. That's a low mintage, hard year to find. So those five will be the last five that you probably get for your collection if you're trying to purchase them one at a time. And like you can see on this page, the Carson Cities are more have more wear on them, and a lot of the more common coins, Morgans, you can buy in mint state for $40-$50. Like they're common. You can find good deals on them, and it'll be full luster, look like it just come off the press, and you can get them. I mean, $40 to $60, $70, $80, depending on the year. And a lot of times, like your 82S's, your 81S, a lot of those you can find proof-like. Those are years you'll come across that the coin is really nice, frosty, has reflective fields at least on one side. So that'll be a couple of the years that you get that will be really nice, the 81S and the 82S. They're always kind of proof-like, either the front or the back or both. So this first album that we're looking through is a little more common coins. Like, it's a lot harder to put the second book together than this first one. So this first book I got put together quicker than I did the second book, because the second album has your 030, your 93S, your 94. So that's those three right there are the toughest ones to get. This one has the 85 Carson City, and it has the 89 Carson City. This is a key date, and that's a key date. They're low mintage. They're hard to find. This coin really jumps up in price, the 89 Carson City. So this one will be hard to find. And I'll tell you, on mine, I believe I gave, for this one, I gave around a little over $600. So you can see when it jumps up a grade or two, or a little more detail, it can jump $50 to $100 pretty quick. And the thing for now it's kind of, the 85, I've heard it kind of being the opposite. So here's another little history about the Morgan dollars, and something you may have known or may not have known. In the 70s, the government had a lot of Carson Cities. They had vaults full of Carson Cities, silver dollars. So what they done they basically sold them, bid them between $30 to $60. You can mail in to purchase a GSA, and you may have seen these. They're the GSA holders, and they basically were just selling them to make money. And I believe they sold around 2.9 million of these Carson Cities, silver dollars, and they made around $100 million. So off of 2.9 million silver dollars, they made $100 million. And I think that averaged out to around $30 to $35 what they sold the Carson Cities for. It went on during the 70s, like 72 through 74, and then I think again in the 1980s. And most of them were the earlier through like 85 Carson cities. So I know the first year they done it in 72, it was the 82, the 83, and the 84. So I believe those were the most common. And out of those, I believe, and I've got an 84 here, and it's weird, and I'll get back to this 85. This box is in a real rough shape, but here is an 84, and I'll let you see it here a little bit. This is an 84, and it looks really good. The cheek, I mean, it's clean. Cheeks are pretty clean. Fields look good. The 84, the year. Now here's the crazy part. So the year that they minted the 1884, and I'll bring the book out here. Bear with me. The 1884 Carson City is on the next page. The 84 Carson City, there was 1.1 million minted. Out of that 1.1 minted, I believe there was like 900,000 of them. So out of 1.1, 900,000 of them were put into GSA hoards. This GSA sleeves, they were sold. So about 85% of your 1884 Carson Cities, I believe it's roughly 85%, went into GSA, went into the GSA hoard to be sold. So what I'm getting at is, do you think it would be easier to find 1884 Carson City in this condition, or in war, like more war condition, like more circulated? It would be harder to find a more circulated condition 1884 than it would be a mint state. So it's kind of backwards. Like, they didn't get circulated. Only what is that? 25% got circulated, or 15 to 25% were circulated, depending on. I believe it was around 85% went into GSA. So about 15% probably got into circulation. So it would be harder. You have a 15% chance finding one in circulated condition versus an 85% one found in GSA mint state condition. So that's something, that's a weird way to look at it. It's harder to find one in this condition than it is in this condition. I know, crazy, right? I don't know. That's just how I think about it. More 85% got put into these, 15% got circulated. And that's kind of where I was going with the 1885. It's kind of the same way. I think the 85cc, around 65 to 70% of the minted 85cc's were put into GSAs slabs. So, like, and the same thing applies. It's harder to find a 85cc that is circulated than in mint state. And I actually have an 84cc. I have I have four 84cc's. Two of them are in GSA slabs. So that's a little neat part of history, that a big, over 50% of some of the Carson cities. Basically, if you see a Carson City between 79 and 85, probably over 50% of them are going to be mint state. I don't know if that number's right, but the few years that I looked at, it was I believe this one was 65%, and then the 84 was more like 85. So those two for sure. It's going to be harder to find it in that condition than in a more mint state condition. So, and here's one of the other ones I'd brought in. It's got a crack, unfortunately, in the slab, but the coin's still in great shape. It's an 83 Carson City, and I'll see and the same thing for this one. This is an 83 Carson City, and it has wear on it. And let me see and there is a website, and it's that tells, and I've got it pulled up here. If you go to, and this is a big article that I'd been reading on. This is Southgate Coins, and it shows the coin, what year it is, what Carson City it is, the original mintage. So this is how many that was minted, and this is how many are in the GSA hoard total. So this is how many got put out into the hoard like this. So we'll take this 83 for example, 83cc, and this one's not as bad as the 84 or 85. Just by looking at it, I can tell it's not that high as percentage, but still, 1883 Carson City, there was 1.2 minted, the mintage of 1.2 million, and out of that 1.2 million minted, there was 755,518 GSAs. So that they done this with. So that's probably a little over what. Let's see here. I will do a little math, and I'll give you a better exact number of what that is. Because I mean, it's kind of neat to see. And I know back in the 70s and 80s when they were doing this, a lot of people were cracking them out, and especially in the 80s, I believe silver went really high. So when silver's really high, your price on the coin is worth more. So a lot of people were cracking them out. And I'll add this up here real fast on this 83 and give you an idea. 1.2 and 755, just a rough number. So it's just really neat. 755 of 1.2, 63%. So it's still over half. So there is a 62% chance, roughly 63, that you will find the 83cc in a GSA hoard. And the other percent, you will see the 45% or whatever it is, roundabout there, 45% chance you'll find it like this. So it's really cool whenever you're looking for these Carson Cities. And I do have a GSA Carson City 1882 Carson City in a GSA slab as well. And but it's really neat to think about it that way. And what they done in the 70s and 80s. So, yeah, that's neat. That's a little part of the history of the coin. So, we'll go on, and I'll show you the 89, the other key date that was hard, the 89cc. And a good thing about these Danskos in the back, it tells you the mintage and it gives you some varieties in the mintage, the year. So the 89cc, 350,000 minted. So it's a low year. And a lot of them, in each year, there's a lot of different stories. The Great Depression comes into effect in the later years. And you're talking three different mints. So we're going to take these right here. This 1888 O, that's New Orleans. 1888 S, San Francisco. 1889 Philly. 1889 Carson City. 4 different locations out of these coins. Now, you can be reassured there was a lot of stuff going on in San Francisco that wasn't going on in Philadelphia. So that plays a big part in the coins and how they were made, the mintage. Did they survive? Did people in Philadelphia not have economic hardship as people in San Francisco did during the same time? And with that being said, going to the next book, the 18, and it's really the 1892, and it's not really a key date, but it is a date in higher conditions that really jumps in price, because San Francisco and this 1893S, San Francisco, there was 100,000 of these made, and it's kind of hard to explain. So this 1894 has 110,000 mintage, and this 1894, you can buy 2 or 3 of those in a lot better condition for what you can buy one 1893S. And the mintage is only off by about 10,000. So why is it twice as expensive, or a third of, why is it more expensive for this one and not the 94? People always ask that, because the mintage is about the same. You've got your 92S, or your 94, or your regular 94, 110,000, and your 93S, 100,000. So 110 and 100,000. You're just talking 10,000 different. Why they should be about the same price? They're not. They're completely off. And I'll show you and I'll get back to the 92S after I show you this. The 94 Philly, 110,000, starts at $950. The 93S starts at 6,000 at VF, very fine, 20. One starts at 6,000, one starts at 900. Okay, they're only 10,000 minted off. So you'd think they'd be the same. Well, the reason, from what I've been reading, this is San Francisco, and this gets back to the S. This is in San Francisco in 93, was a totally different place than Philadelphia in 94. The economic hardship that they had in San Francisco in 93, when this was minted, it got out into circulation, and people had to spend their dollar. They couldn't hoard it up like they did the 94 in Philadelphia. Philadelphia wasn't having as hard as times were a little better in 94 in Philadelphia than it was in 93 San Francisco. So this coin actually got used a lot more. People had to use it. They couldn't hoard it up or try to save it. I believe, from what I've read, that's more of the reason than some of the other coins, as though they may have been melted down. So that's the reasoning. A lot of people want to know the difference because they say, well, one's 100,000, one's 110,000. They should be the same, like they should be more close in price. Which I think the 94 Philadelphia will go up in price eventually. Like, it's a very low mintage, and it's a key date. And this as well was one of the last coins that I got from my collection, a 94. And I paid around $700 for mine. And I've since upgraded to this one. My other one was in a little, not as good condition, but it was still an expensive coin. You're going to be paying $600 to $1,000 for your 94, depending on condition, of course. So that's kind of the reason your 93S and your 94 differ in price by a bunch. Like I said, you're talking $6,000 to $900 coin. They're that much difference. So that's why people in 93 San Francisco had to spend their dollar. They couldn't hold on to it. Times were tough. You had to spend it. You couldn't keep a dollar in your pocket. And I believe the 1918 Pittman Act plays into it some, but from what I've read, it was people couldn't hoard them up. They had to spend them. So it got circulated, and that's the reasoning behind it. So let me know in the comments if that's what you have heard, or if I'm completely wrong. Please let me know, because I want to know. But that's from what I've read, multiple articles. That's what it's from. And now back to the 92S. It's kind of the same thing. It's harder to find in any condition, and this one you probably won't find it in much better condition than what I've got, because the price, they call it a sleeper. Like, it will jump dramatically in price. And I'm not talking a couple $100. I'm talking thousands of dollars. So the 92S is the sleeper. So what I mean by sleeper is you start off $100 to $170, and then from VF to extra fine it goes to $525, and then $2,000, and then $50,000. Yes, $2,000 to $50,000 to $90,000 to $180,000. So between a AU 50 and an MS 60, you have a $48,000 jump. I know, it's crazy. So I have a few 92S's, but none of them are better than this. They're all this condition. So it's a good coin to have, but you'll find it in good to very good to fine condition. And once you get in the very fine to extra fine, the prices really start jumping. So this coin, the 92S, it can be a hard coin to find too. You can find them slick and about good to fine condition, but the price will jump dramatically. So watch out for your 92S's, the sleeper. Okay, and in my books, and I'll show you, I know this video is getting kind of long, but I hope you're enjoying it. My books, and I've got them marked, on the Morgans. So this is the 1975 book, and this is the 1968. So you're talking 7 years difference here. And I'm going to show you I've got it marked here. This book is falling apart. They're a little old. So the 92S in 1968. 92S. This is what it was listing for in 1968. 1968. 1960 or 1892S. They're saying 1.2 million made, and in uncirculated condition, $675. So extra fine is $25, and then it jumps to $675. So remember that, $675 in uncirculated. So 7 years. In 7 years, this is what it jumps to. The 1892S and uncirculated, 9,260 or 9,250. So almost $10,000. It goes from that to almost $10,000 in just 7 years. That's crazy. So $9,250. That's a big jump in just 7 years. I mean, imagine in 1968 you bought up a bunch of 1962s or 1892S's, and they appreciated that much in just 7 years. That's crazy. So that just shows you like how coins can change in just so little of time. And imagine if instead of making the GSAs, selling the GSAs, imagine if they melted all of these Carson cities, the 2.9 million Carson cities that they put into these slabs and sold. Imagine if they melted all of those. The few that would be left would be, the price jumps would be huge. Like they would be the new key dates because of the great melt, I guess they would call it. So that would be, I mean, that just something like that could have changed the dynamics of all these coins. Whereas we wouldn't be saying the 93S was a key date. We'd be saying the 1885 Carson City was a key date because they melted 85% of them. It's crazy. So there's so much to this and so much history to this collection that I just love it. And I hope you all do too, because if not, I'm just rambling and y'all are like, just shut up and show me the coins, which I'm going to do. So I'm going to run through these. And that's really all I wanted to really talk about was the key dates, the coins you're going to have trouble with. Remember the 030, and I'll show you mine. 030. That was one of the last ones I got. The 030 is an expensive one. That'll be a $600 to $800 coin. The 94. That's going to be an expensive one. $600 to $1,000. A lot of your 93s through 95s, and the 95, the 1895 Philly is a proof only. There was about 880 of them made, and the cheapest one I've seen is around $30,000. They're probably $40,000 now, so there's not many of those. You don't really see about any of them. So that's going to be one you probably won't get ever. And I know some of the Morgan albums don't even have a slot for the 1895 because it's really just unobtainable. Like people don't have $40,000 to throw on a coin. If you do, you're probably not interested in coins. But people do. There's people that have it. Having said that, of course, there's always somebody that has a I guess an extra $40,000 laying around they won't need. But for me, I won't have it. So, but all the other ones you can get. And I've got, and I'll show you the price on what I've got on my collection. I've went through and I've tried to price everything. And like I was saying, the 94s, them are all going to be hard years. The 95s are hard years. These will be some of the last semi-key dates you get. 95Os, 95S, really hard dates to get. And some of the later years will be hard too. The 03S, the 02S, some of those are harder to get. Your 21s, if you've got a Morgan Dollar right now, a 90% chance it's a 1921. So these last few years after they quit making them in 1904, they started back in 1921 before they made the peace dollar, and they made a bunch. And this will be probably, if you've got one, if Granny had one or Pawpaw had one, they handed you down the collection. And more than likely will be a 1921, which they're beautiful. I love them, but it's going to be your most common. With that said, I told you I'd kind of put a price together on my collection, and it'll be the last thing I show you all. And I believe I've got it in my journal. Now, I'd made a video earlier about make sure you've got your stuff priced, because as you'll see, I've got a lot of money tied up here in just my Morgans, and I collect other coins as well and currency. If you got key dates, get them slabbed, get them authenticated if you're going to try to sell them. If you're buying your key dates, get them authenticated, make sure they're real. Don't spend money on junk. And I keep a journal or a folder of all my prices of everything. If something ever happens to me, my wife will know kind of what to do. And this is a quick list. There's a lot. I believe there's 96 Morgan dollars to complete a set, and this is mine. So this is, from my experience and my opinion on grades and conditions and what they're selling for on eBay. I go through eBay and I look at the items sold and the condition I believe mine is in, and the grading is subjective. So my opinion on my coin being a very fine or a good or a unk or a mint state may not be somebody else's. So on my opinion, this is what I've got, and this will show you real quick that it can add up really fast when you're buying coins. So my first album, which is the earlier years, which is this one, the 78 through 90, I've got around $7,600 in, $7,630, and that is what I believe they are. I know when I go to sell, I probably won't get that. It'll be 20 to 30% is what they'll offer me below that, because they'll probably want to resell it. But this is an ideal of what I've got in it. Album 2, the later years, and this will show you how much of difference the key dates. And I've got key dates beside my I've got a star beside my key dates. This is what I've got. $12,145 in album number 2, the later years. Your later years has your big items in it. It's got your 93S. I've got $2,300 on. My 94, it's in, excuse me, sorry. It's a, I'm going to get choked up talking about it. My 1894 Philly, $1,000. And my 95s, O and S, they're about $600 coins. So just in those like 4 coins right there, there's $3,000, almost $4,000 in coins in just 4 coins. a little over. And if you throw in the 030, it's a $700 coin. So just in those 5 coins right there, I've got $6,000. And the rest of them, as you can tell, are $50. I've got a bunch of $50, $40 coins, $40, $90. And there's some better dates up here. The 93cc, $80. So the smaller coins take a lot to add up, but when you get those key dates, your price jumps really fast. So keep that in mind. So with my two albums that I've just showed you, with my key dates, with my 93S, I believe I've got around $19,000 in these 2 albums. So I've got a lot better condition of some key dates, and that makes all the difference in the world is the condition and the mintage. So just realize you can have a $12,000 set, or you can have a $50,000 set, but it will cost you $10,000 to $15,000 at least to put a set together, even poor conditions, because you've got 3 coins that are going to cost you $4,000 or $5,000, $6,000. So just giving you all a heads up. It's a fun journey, but it's an expensive one, and this has been one of the most fun, one of the best things I've ever done. I love it. I love coin collecting, and I know this video has been really long, but I hope you have learned something and have enjoyed this as much as I have. I love talking about it. Of course, I made so many videos on my Morgan dollars, but it's a fun set. I've done it with my son. Him and I look through them, and I know I'm going to leave this for them, my family, and they know I love coins more than anything, but this is really just, it's been fun, something to do, and it's a great investment. I don't think this will go down in value. When silver goes up, it goes up. When silver goes down, it kind of stays around the same. You still have your numismatic value in these coins. So this 1893S, they're not making any more of it. So it's going to keep its value. It may fluctuate a little bit, but they're not making any more, and it's a rare key date that somebody will always be wanting to purchase to complete their set. So just remember that when you're putting sets together. The key dates, they're the life of the collection. So I really appreciate you all staying with me and listening to me ramble on about Morgan silver dollars, but I love it, and I appreciate you all. And I'm almost at 1,000 subscribers. When I hit that, I will do a giveaway, and I'll give away like a grab bag or a small collection of coins, something just to show my appreciation for everybody. And hope you all have a great night. Please like, share, and subscribe. Let me know in the comments what y'all think, what y'all collect, where you're at in your Morgan dollar collection journey. And you all have a great night. Stay safe. Have a great weekend. Bye.